here Malaysia, Season 17. A brand new partnership league heralds a new era, and the curtains draw to see what kind of weapons will be brought in to the broken walls.
Once again, we want to greet, hello, and welcome to everybody from across the world tuning in to the first day of MPL MY Season 17, especially those of you who are enjoying Holy Week in the Philippines. Thank you for tuning in to our content. Now, Freya immediately banned out by Valdo. Understandable when you're on that red side, but I want to see potential solutions, right? A couple of things that I've noticed across other MPLs. Marcel, kind of a give and take. Some teams don't want to pick him up. Other teams actually want him really, really bad. The gold lane issue of Freya, still very prevalent, but no real answers have come out of it. It's just banned it out, and then we go into carry claw, maybe into like if I'm lucky enough, maybe a Harith if my team allows it.
I do think it does depend on the team a little bit. Sometimes people are willing to play Freya. Sometimes certain teams just don't really want to lean into it anymore, especially since marksmen have regained some of that ability to actually face off in the gold lane. We do, of course, see some new faces, Marcel being one of them, banned out by Vamos, but also the Valentina, a hero that was notoriously unpopular for a very long time, only being picked up as a counter to Sora.
Yep, and I think that's still going to be the case. They're setting up for a Sora first pick here, and Vamos now have to answer that question. Do we give up? We've already banned out Freya. We can't give them absolutely everything. If we ban out Sora here, that opens up multiple big picks for SRG, but then again, they are on that blue side. So instead, they're going to lean into the Kalia ban, and now they're going to force Arrow 404 to play something, well, a little bit more, less reliable, as some may call it.
Perhaps. I think SRG is still sticking to the same old style, though we do see the Fanny respected right off the bat. This is Uni. This is one of his signatures. Let's not let him take all the spotlight, shall we?
Yeah, kind of interesting. Do they have more faith that Arrow 4 or 4 could potentially not out-jungle his opponent? Or are they inconfident that Zekif can actually catch a potential Fanny later down the line? I don't know. Valdo, knowing his particular history, he does a lot of research, but at the same time, he once again needs to make his players feel good. In comparison to SRG, whereas here are your weapons, figure it out.
SRG already knows what they're capable of. They have years of experience playing together, and we've already pointed out, Vamos has some new blood on their side. It's not going to be the Sora first pick though. The Zusin was left open, and we already saw this in M7. Anytime this hero is left out of the bans, SRG will snatch it up.
Yep, I mean, so nasty till we don't need to show the hero up on stage, okay? We already know what it's capable of. But now Vamos on the opposite side, I feel like SRG are setting up one of two things. One, they want to make the mid trio strong if they're going for Jushin as their very first pick. Secondly, if they are banning out things like, oh yeah, the Kalia randomly, they could set up for a Sora later down the line, unless we see them pick it up right now. I think that SRG might have a counter pick to the Sora, might not have a counter pick, I'm not 100% sure, but that's the dice game that they're playing.
Yeah, they're trying to force it. They're basically making it so that Vamos has to take it, but looks like that's not going to be the case. The Khalid shows up along with the Phoveus, a hero that was recently buffed and I think benefited quite heavily from it. Phoveus was a very position in the EXP lane for a long time, but nowadays is actually one of the prime picks.
Okay, pretty good overall. I like where Coach Valdo's head is at right now. I don't want to pick up the Sora straight away. I know what some of the comfort picks from Cram is going to look like. Picking up the Phoveus is really interesting, right? It doesn't exactly do the greatest against Sora in particular, but he optimizes the entire composition to say, hey, if I'm in front and I can slow them down, maybe you guys can do something else. And that's why they go for the Khalid almost immediately after. Now, this also does deter SRG from actually going for an assassin, but we'll see in just a little bit here because the next two picks looking to be Sora alongside with Guinevere. So they don't want a traditional assassin.
I'm kind of surprised though that Vamos did let the Sora through. You already know that SRG wants it for Innocent. And then it was wide open for you. There's no longer a counter. There's definitely a chance Vamos could have stolen it away, but now that, along with the Guinevere, is going to go over to SRG's hands, and this is a very flexible hero for them as well. We know that Humes can play it in their own position. We haven't really seen a lot of it from Uni and Jungle, but I wouldn't be surprised.
Yeah, I think a lot of this game is going to lean towards the EXP side of things, right? Just look at the way that they're like drafting themselves. They're making sure that, hey, we know that EXP is going to be weak side, but if we give them just a little bit of help, we can actually win out level 4 by the very first turtle. And that's what I think Vamos wants to do. A lot of control around these turtle fights when now that they also have have access to the ROM. Not to mention that with this Khalid, you don't necessarily have to continuously sit in that mid lane. Yes, it's helpful to move the mid lane together, but if you can beef up, whether it's your gold lane, whether it's your EXP, ideally in this game, I think it might be the EXP being the focus.
Yeah,
I don't know.
I think so as well. I think in the recent meta, we've already seen a little bit more of a prevalence of the aggressive mid duo, where you pair a highly aggro roamer like Hilda and Khalid, along with a good mid lane trader like the Eve. Because after all the magic item buffs, nowadays mages can become a lot more active a lot earlier than before, and it allows you to invade jungle, allows you to take control of the map quite early on. So if SRG wants to deal with this, then one way of doing so is by cutting off the EXP lane to make their turtle trades a little easier.
So that begs the question, right? With the next set of bans, I mean, you know, potential counter picks, and also getting rid of the glue is really, really good here. It makes Khalid's life alongside with Phoveus' life just a little bit easier when it comes down to the laning phase. However, it will get a little scary later on into the game, especially for people like Eve who are naturally immobile. Overall, we do see the COD finally banned at the end. I really thought we would have seen at least one of the gold laners show up pretty early on into this matchup, but again, very different directions.
We already know that both Vamos and SRG have a tendency of going into the later stages, so I can see how they might want to keep their gold laner secret until later on. Though we already know there's a high chance of Sora being gold lane, I don't think that's really fallen off the meta. Still one of the best heroes in the game currently. And Vamos getting rid of the Claude means that they have a different idea. Do they have the sauce to counter Innocent's signature?
They can, if they want to. But the real question is, who's going to be the jungle at that point? Does that mean that Yums has to play the Guinevere? I think this is all leading on the Yi Shin, right? If it is a double fighter, we need to see a Yi Shin, something that scales in the jungle. If not, we're expecting traditional jungle styles.
The Shin gold lane has been popping up a lot in the other MPLs. Could be an option, but does it fall under the playstyle of Natko? He was one of the gold laners that adjusted fairly well to the fighter gold lane, so there's a chance of him pulling out something like the CC or the Esme if necessary, though those aren't the best answers right now. They're gonna go ahead and lock in the Leomord first.
Man, what a really beefy lineup from the side of Vamos. It is the perfect balance of, even if we fall behind, we're actually not that far. Our abilities and base damages are good enough. If we're ahead, it will feel like they are leagues ahead, where you are just suffocating for oxygen. And now SRG, they need to give us some direction. Which is strong side, which is weak side?
And is this going to be a roam or a jungle Guinevere? Now we get the answer to that. Tank junglers have been increasing in popularity again as a way of stopping early game snowballs. Could be good against the Leomord, but looks like that is not the case. We got the Granger and the Cho, which means that this is going to be Cram's Sora instead.
Beautiful stuff coming in from SRG. Their composition is unique. Well, I wouldn't say unique in a sense of like, oh, it's never been played before. It's unique because it's particularly good against Error 404. So many ways to actually disrupt combinations, but more importantly, two major ways to actually knock him away from the Phantom Steed. If he loses that Phantom Steed, it's kind of over for that team fight.
Yeah, this is a nearly impossible team comp for the Leomord to fight, actually. Almost every hero has some form of crowd control, some form of escape. You want to run in, you want to start whacking at people with that lance, but SRG has so much mobility built in, and their heroes don't need to be particularly close together to function either. It is a very red giant lineup.
I agree. The team fights are going to be determined by Claw Kun. The laning phase is going to be determined by the individual skill of Natko and Zeno, who luckily Natko was able to get access to his Killua, to his Harith. But Zkif, he is the big game changer here. If he can affect the laning phase, I think things could smoothen out very easily for Vamos. But if SRG plays at peak performance, that first blood basically seals the game.
It's gonna be a test of his mettle for sure. Zkeef is a roamer we've had our eye on ever since his days with Aero Esports, acknowledged by Zorn himself and now taken under his tutelage. His first time under the banner of Team Vamos against the Titan of MPL Malaysia.
It's going to be a very exciting bout here between SRG and Team Vamos as we make our way into the land of dawn. Thank you to everyone tuning in today to watch our inaugural game of Season 17 and let the games kick off.
I'm hoping everyone at home has some popcorn because this is going to be a show, the very beginning, to set the stage and the tempo for the rest of this much longer season of MPL Malaysia. We got SRG on the blue side versus Vamos on the red, and already Zkeep doing some good poke damage to Stormy.
Now, the mid lane is going to be by far the most important contestation ground for both Vamos and as well as SRG. But with broken walls, at the very least, we know that as long as somebody gets first blood, they get a small lead, things are going to get crazy. Now, if you look on your screen right now with the players' performances, you can tell that they have a heart rate monitor. Dude, Arrow 404 is nervous. He's at 138 beats per minute.
This is new. I didn't know we had something like this. For a moment, I thought it was HP count. And I was like, no, that seems a little bit low, even at the start of the game. But that is a very interesting piece of information. Yumes keeping an eye on Error.
Now they're going to go for the very first invade, which honestly doesn't seem that great for SRG, knowing that Zkeep has high base damages. But the same can be said about Yumes. And his performance on the show is going to determine whether or not they find these leads or not. As right now, Cram, he has got the performance that we're looking for. Oh, they should be okay here as they walk away. Just quick trades. It should be good enough.
Both roamers going to recall there, but we can already see a sign from that fight. The fact that Cram was able to join the invasion so easily indicates that he is winning lane. Oh, they found one! The Violent Requiem goes in on Zkeep. Uni secures first blood. He's in danger.
Oh!
Gets pushed back with the Phantom Steed, and Error 404 finds his quarry.
Really nicely done by Arrow. He was about to get max stacks on those butterflies. He quickly had to push out of the Jushin's range to ensure that he could try and secure this kill, not giving any opportunity over for Uni to find the trade back. Now they're looking for the next engage.
Cram goes in, goes for the Thunder Form instead. He's looking for Error 404, finds the kill. Here comes the Shifting Skies, flickers backwards to make sure he doesn't go down.
Beautiful early game coming up from SRG, taking these small leads and priority. It's now they
flickers in, gets the knockdown, doesn't quite get target. Uni secures the turtle, and now Stormy pops the ultimate. Violent Requiem gets the lockdown on the Phobius, and Real World Manipulations is slightly out of position, but they find Uni. Zeno gonna stop his engagement, but Stormy not gonna let him escape. Feeds the kill into Cram.
Why would you go for Stormy there? Why was Stormy the priority? Shouldn't it be Guinevere at that point? You go Guinevere because you know that Clawkun was going to eventually walk up in Real World Manipulation, right? Maybe jump the gun a little bit. Right now, keep our eyes on the heart rate monitor because Stormy, he's at 156. Currently the highest BPM next to Arrow 404 at 141.
Oh, it looked like Cram just beat him, actually. So Cram is feeling the heat of the moment. He has been the primary initiator thus far. And we can already see SRG adopting a much more aggressive style with Uni in their ranks.
Dude, he's 157, walking and fighting nothing. He's just nervous walking.
Well, you know, when you're walking in the jungle...
What do you mean? The jungler is already on his orange. What are you scared of? He's at 161. Dude, this guy's got to breathe.
You know, he turns into lightning, idiot. Yeah, that kind of pumps up the heart rate a little bit.
Just straight up CPR. Constantly in the motion of CPR to keep his heart pumping.
He's literally a living defibrillator.
He's got an iron lung somewhere. But in terms of how calm teams are, feels like Vamos is just a little bit calmer, right? Stormy coming back to normal levels, but then we start looking at the gold differences, and it's very, very minute. A majority actually leaning into Cram, which is probably why he's feeling nervous. He knows that if I don't do something with this lead, it's going to be a waste of everybody's time.
This is also a pretty common position for Cram to be in. He knows how to win his lanes. He knows how to affect the map. The fact that he's been able to join so many fights compared to Zeno is what has created this space for SRG, and they're already setting up for the next turtle.
A really quick look at the items behind me, and I see straight away, SRG, they want to play for the snowball. Innocent already with a Fury Hammer on top of having the Sky Piercer. Cram, first item, he's looking for War Axe. He's not looking to build as a tank.
See SRG taking this very slowly. They get the lift up into the Violent Requiem. Great combo. Ardelion comes in, but Turtle gets secured away by Error 404. We see the Torrent Form come out, but Cram doesn't really catch anyone. And now Vamos are the ones in the driver's seat. They're chasing them down. Zeno gets 2-man knockup. Cram goes down. Forces the ultimate out. Another knockup comes in. But they get the lift. Stormy throws them back into the tower. Innocent racks up some Sky Piercer stacks. And now Zeno is way out of position. Double kill for the half man, half beast.
Oh my goodness. Honestly, pretty interesting fight broken out there. Luckily for SRG, they are not taking that much damage. 3-for-1 trade, so worth it for SRG. But let's look at the instant replay, because I think the mistake only starts to show itself later on. The first person they decide to hit is actually Zkif here, allowing Arrow 404 to get a free retribution. On top of the fact that he has raw burst, a level ahead of his opponent. But the mistake happens right here after the first dive underneath the turret. Wait for it. And the next jump, right there. Zeno, he should not have to go further than this. He just needs to block the shots from Innocent. Don't let him get the Sky Piercer stacks. Just walk away and just focus on scaling.
Team Vamos definitely overheated a little bit there, and that is a pretty common issue for this squad, even though you've got quite a few new faces in their roster. It started out good. SRG didn't actually initiate the way they wanted. Uni got caught out too soon, lost the turtle trade because he had to back off, and Cram didn't really get the catch either. But Team Vamos just went too far.
Look at that. Look at Yums just making sure that it's difficult to even close the distance. His presence alone is going to be enough. Zkri, first item, he decides to build Thunderbelt. So he's looking to try and just face up against Yums constantly, getting and farming those stacks. But Cram has won his lane convincingly, allowing him to have full control over the turtle area for the next 2 minutes.
And I think that's where a lot of the advantage is coming from. The fact that the Sora won lane so hard. Zeno has been getting good catches, honestly. But for, Uni goes in, Violet Requiem on 2! Phantom Steed comes up and Uni takes Error 404 away! He's not part of the fight, so Uni gets a free double kill.
What did I tell you? What did I tell you? Plays like that, value plays coming in from your initiators is all you need, especially when you catch 2. Yums, he just needs to make sure the follow-up is just not good enough. And Arrow 404, he's feeling it. At 123 BPM, even Clawquinn at 105, they're recognizing that SRG is applying a lot of pressure, making the blood just a little thicker.
The experience and chemistry of the Giants showing itself. Torrent form finds Zeno, he's way out of position. RWM comes in, forces the flicker from Cram. Uni in trouble, but the kick comes through onto the horse. Error 404 still okay for now. Zkif doing a good job of tanking damage in front with the Notco comes in from the flank looking for Stormy, but Innocent picks up the double kill. And now they are gonna both walk away.
Such a winnable fight there for Team Vamos, but at the very least, SRG decided to cut ties now. Cut their losses, don't bleed any further. Now Team Vamos, Zeno, I'm so surprised he survived there. Literally at 1 HP, I thought it was a mistake trying to defend that mid-tier 1, but because of his efforts, he did lose out on his flicker, does fall behind in goal, but saves mid-tier 1, which allows Clawquinn that breathing room. Topside ends up losing a turret anyway, but it's about positional power.
I'd say that Team Vamos has been doing an actually okay job of dealing with SRG within the team fights itself, but I'm worried about the long-term effects here. Innocent is racking up Sky Piercer stacks, and now Yum goes for the kick on Zkif once again. Raging Sandstorm is weird, and now it's a free 2-man Violet Requiem! Unstoppable! Double kill for Innocent! He flickers backwards, Zeno trying to chase him down, but now he's surrounded by every single member of the Giants! It's a triple for Innocent!
Wee-woo! Wee-woo! Mistakes are made, mistakes have been made. Zkif, no! He could have just used the ult to like bail out of there. He thought Yums didn't have the Shun Po, but he got the reset after the 3rd hit, so how did he not know? They still lose mid-tier 1. All the positional power and the sacrifices from Zeno happening for the first, at least from 6 minutes onwards, all down the drain now.
The literal thing I said before that fight started is,
oh my god,
getting worse.
Oh my god, I just realized that our UI also tells us the physical defense and magical defense.
Wow.
That's actually insane.
That's really interesting. Those are good stats to have.
Wait, is that base damage or additional? You know what? I'll ask about it later. But the numbers are very, very useful here because now at least we can kind of keep up with the stacks of Zkif because as long as we see that number, that P defense or M defense go up, we know it's him.
The important thing to note though is that Innocent probably has like what, 5 or 6 Sky Piercer stacks by now, and I don't think he's died yet. So this man is a problem.
I think it's more than that. He's 7-1, by the way.
With Thunderform used defensively, they're trying to execute Cram, but here comes the knock-up in the backline. Yums buying time. Violet Requiem onto Zeno. Once again, Phovius has to flicker away. Yums in trouble as well. Zaman Force used to chase him down, but Zkif now gonna be the next target of the mid lane. Stormy all forward. Raging Sandstorm whiffs. Legendary for Innocent.
Damn, I'm not gonna lie. Innocent, he played it well, but I think Zkif, he did everything he possibly could to try and land that. He even did the delay tech as well. Goodness gracious. Now, Error, just keep in mind that he's pretty strong, and honestly, He could steal this again.
He wants to go for it while he still has RBL. He takes it. Error 404 secures the Lord. And now they're going in. Shifting Skies use Cram on 1 HP. He just barely backs it out. And SRG will retreat.
Dang. I don't know. Is Arrow 404 getting better, or is Chibi releasing his secret text on how to steal away objectives like he did in Season 8? Dear God. How is he getting away with this, honestly? And really, it begs the question, right? Now that we've already moved from Turtle stages to Lord stages, if we're losing Lords at this stage for the side of SRG, are they so purely indoctrinated to just say, you know what? As long as Innocent is max stack, we're going to win this game. Guys, trust.
I honestly would not be surprised. Because we have seen this so many times.
Hey, look, he's on Granger this time round, all right? And no Roger nonsense, no Moskov nonsense. How could he possibly outplay 5 guys?
Well, looks like right now Cram is the one taking damage. Raging Spectrum connects this time. The Sora is in trouble and he goes down. Killing spree for the Leomord. Violet Requiem comes in on top of the Eve and they will execute Clockwood and killing spree. But Uni now in a really weird spot. He's gonna try and dash away to buy as much time as possible with Natko chasing him down. Will he be able to find him?
I thought it was weird initially, but then you start looking at the other sides. All the waves have been managed, and now they're on top of Zeke.
And that's the way of the dragon, feeding the kill. The legendary streak going into the hands of Innocent. Phantom Streak comes out. Error 44 will be able to run away. Uni! He turned around the fight. It's a mega kill. He takes out Natko. Innocent with the double. 4 members of Vamos have been executed.
And I'm looking at Natko, and it's like, oh, I just died. I died to a level 13 Guinevere, who was already put to 1 HP, who, let me quickly check the items, currently running, oh, that's why. Concentrated energy alongside with the Queen's Wings, making sure that the outplayability was possible.
Error 404, you do not want to be here, and now he realizes this is the worst position he could be in. He's trying to trade for Innocent, but he cannot. It's a shutdown, and the legendary streak continues.
All the lives lost just trying to protect these tier 1s. Now without them, you see that SRG is fully online. Individual players of their own with Yums alongside with Uni, able to kind of do whatever they want. Cram just needs to be positioned in between them to find those right moments. But look at the damage taken, right? Arrow 404 is only second in terms of damage dealt, because Innocent is already putting so much, but I'm surprised that Uni is actually higher than Cram in these fights.
And Guinevere has been popping up a lot in rank these days. I imagine anyone who's been playing knows that this hero is surprisingly strong, especially with all the buffs to the magic items benefiting her ability to brawl in the earlier stages. And Uni is definitely capable as well, so I'm not surprised at the statistics at all. SRG are feeling their stride.
They really are. And not to mention that this, like, team composition is so well designed for Guinevere. 3 ways to enable Guinevere's ult for free. And now we look at the max stacks here. He's already at 630. Well, 630 at 12 minutes into the game, which means that it was probably like 600 like a minute ago.
11-0-1. At that point, what do you even do? You have to find Innocent, but it's so difficult.
It's not easy, and I think Arrow 404 and Zeno recognize that they have to be the ones who take him out, but he hasn't used his flicker in a lot of situations. There's no real way to force it out of him. Even if you do get Zeke to like engage, he needs to have flicker, and he needs to catch him.
Well, Lord gonna be focused down very quickly. SRG gonna take it out before Vamos even shows up. Zeno just gonna be toyed with by Stormy as well. Vamos gonna need to play the defense game.
Yeah, it's a little late, but looking at the raw burst damage, we see the major damage dealers for the side of Vamos at the bare minimum. It's majority magic other than Arrow 404, right? Zeno doesn't do enough damage. He's building full tank as well. And TQRS on top of the Radiant armor as they're about to lose their tier 2.
They're taking so much poke damage already. Zeno has to try and re-engage, but he gets pulled forward once again. He has to just barely back it off. Zaman Force is good though, splits the fight so that Team Vamos isn't forced.
I don't know. Why won't Zeke just like ult? Trade ults, right? Trade ults, get flickers, something. Something at the very least, because right now they're not really delaying the Lord. It feels like the inevitable is about to happen as the second wave is about to collapse.
Well, here comes the conceal. RWM used defensively, which is good, but that means they won't have it for much longer, and SRG is just waiting out the timer. The Lord takes down the tower, the half HP. Zeke nearly melts, but he's okay for now. And Team Vamos have done a good job of splitting up their resources.
Hey, Cram, don't get greedy here, Cram. That was a moment for you to actually follow up on the pickup from Zeke, but now they want a little bit more. They want to dive.
Oh, here comes the Violet Requiem. I'm actually not going to commit it just fine. As Uni going to be the first one exploded. Vamo's going to go for the counter attack. They've caught Crab. He's on 1 HP. And Glockon will be his end. end. SRG gonna back it off. Innocent slowly whittling them down from afar. He's looking for more stacks, though he's already maxed out. But Team Vamos will successfully defend.
Beautiful cancel, immediately punishing both Union as well as Cram, who had the same idea. Luckily, Nako still had Purify to get out of there. Worst comes to worst. We look at the items one more time. No idea how many stacks currently for Zkeef, but everybody else is coming to that full build. Rather surprising that we're seeing that Aero 404 opting to go for the Rose Gold Meteor here. Is that necessary? Would he prefer to actually get the Brute Force Breastplate? I feel that might be a little bit better in this scenario.
I mean, I can kind of understand where he's coming from here. The Brute Force would be helpful, but the Rose Gold Meteor offers a little bit of additional attack and allows you to dive in with that shield as well. So you could argue either way. I think Rose Gold is more of a get out of jail free card.
I think the answer to that is that he wants the Rose Gold because it's more bursty for the side of SRG. Because even if he does take Brute Force Breastplate, there's just so many lines of CC that even if you get a discount from all of them, it'll total up to about a total of 0.8 seconds, which is basically good to nothing when there's so much already.
Yeah, now that we are 16 minutes into the game, Team Vamos have been able to regain a bit of a foothold. They're still looking at a 5k gold deficit, but it's definitely a better situation than what we saw before. Next Lord coming up in about 10 seconds, and SRG is still in control of the map.
Yeah, honestly, SRG struggling to find like that opening. Team Vamos making sure that even in the worst possible scenarios, they're not that far away in terms of the goal lead. Conceal though.
Yep, Vamos wants to dive in. Raging Sandstorm will miss, but they will force SRG back. Now Uni goes back in with the Winter Crown, gets the Violent Requiem. RWM catches Innocent, forces him backwards. Zkeef looking for him, has the flicker backwards. Team Vamos has split up their fight. They're forcing SRG into a funnel, but most of their HP is now low. Yumes looking for it. 3-man, Zeke couldn't knock up. He gets knocked back. Zeno buying time once again. Yumes will be the first to go down. And now SRG not in a very good spot. Graham gonna be taken out of the fight. It's a double kill for Clockhound. Here comes the horse. Another Violent Requiem gonna be used, but Uni has to back it off. Innocent picks up the Legendary, but they've lost their jungler as well. Team Vamos is striking back.
Beautiful play from Natco. Really great positioning overall. Didn't lose out on his Purify, and they still managed to get the base defense at the very end. Now they're going to get one more in Stormy.
Yeah, why are you here, sir? He will be able to get out with that Crimson Lantern. But Team Vamos has taken control. This should be a free Lord.
They got to speed this up, though. They don't have a lot of time to keep on working on this, but luckily they've hurt at least SRG enough to keep him away. Good thing that Zkeef is there to block the shots. Really good stuff. Zkeef, he's matured a lot. He is making sure that his vision is wide. He's not tunnel visioning as hard as he used to.
And this is exactly what Team Vamos has needed. The opportunity to turn things around. And now it is only a 2k net worth difference. Basically nothing at this stage of the game. Lord's gonna be pushing in, and SRG doesn't actually have all that many towers to work with, especially in that top lane.
Very true. And so far, with the amount of like raw peel we are seeing from Vamos, with the amount of catches we've seen from SRG, this is really a battle of mechanics, right? Because the longer the fights go, it's very volatile. It'll swing between Team Vamos and SRG depending on whether their ults actually connect. But Zkeef, he spots out everybody, allowing the rest of Team Vamos to actually take more position on the mid lane.
And this is very, very good right now from Zkeef. We can see he's taking a slower method than what we've seen Zorn in the past.
Oh, beautiful.
Potentially what Vamos needed.
Yeah, and because Zkeef opened up that side of the map, it allows Vamos to be more confident in taking away these turrets. What are you going to do, SRG? Try me. We know what side of the map is safe to fall back to.
Only inhibitors left standing for the Red Giants. This could be a huge upset in the first game of the season. Vamos looking for it. Lord collides in. Here comes the Phantom Steed. SRG looking for a chance to re-engage, but the tower is the first one down. Team Vamos taking it slow, taking it disciplined. They will accept that and walk away.
Honestly, not that bad. It feels like it was Vamos' game to lose if they wanted to press the matter even further, but they know that Cram still has his ult, still has the cloud form, still could flicker forward. That's just too much risk. You have to wait. RWM.
Once again, RWM gonna use. Cram has to use Torn Form defensively, and Zeno is eating a lot of damage. Perfectly fine. He's gonna engage. He gets the two-man knockup. They're in the base. They're looking for it. Stormy has to use his ultimate. Zeno is a bit deep now, though. He's probably gonna be sacrificed, but he will buy some time with the Winter Crown before he meets his end. One more stack. Doesn't really matter at this point. Yumes, though, looking for Natco. Being Vamos, keeping good distance.
Yep. And you just know the experience on Yumes. He didn't want to go for a crazy play. Even if he did add kick, he probably wouldn't have to use it there and then. There are other times to utilize it. But man, SRG, so far, despite winning a majority of their trades, majority of their fights, despite being very literally 9 kills ahead of their opponent, Team Vamos is taking the lead back structure-wise.
This is highly unexpected situation, and I'm surprised that SRG didn't try to commit for a bigger fight there.
That's what I thought too.
With how grouped up Vamos was,
Yep.
you have a Sora, you have a Guinevere. They were surprisingly passive.
Why are we not escalating the scenario? That's what I think, personally. I think that if SRG, even if you are losing away the Lord, if you're taking out 4 members from the side of Vamos, that's basically as good as nothing, right? You're still able to manage a majority of those waves.
Well, Team Vamos looking a lot more confident in their team fights now, and Clawkun is definitely scaled up to the point where he is a genuine threat. This RWM not allowing SRG to engage even when they have a Guinevere to counter it.
Yep, the heartbeats are telling us the entire story here. At least for Xeno, he's kind of found his position. He's found that rhythm, found that groove. Zekif and Arrow44 has been a little jumpy on the fly, but Zekif, he's been managing to keep it under 100. Clawkun, Natko, they are so chill. They're ridiculously chill. It's not even funny.
It's actually surprising how much more chill the heartbeats are now compared to the start of the game.
I know.
Start of season jitters, I guess.
Possibly, because even when we're looking on the opposite side, like Tram, he's been at 100 BPM for a decently long time. Either he's got like an impressive heart, or he might actually have some issues. Either way, he needs to calm down.
Well, hopefully they find that calmness because Vamos has control of the Lord. Error's on it right now, still holding on to his ultimate. Xeno buying time. Cram comes in from behind. Violet Requiem used on one, but the RLM comes out and the Lord is dropping low. Who's gonna secure it? Error 404 takes it for Vamos. They've lost Xeno though. The legendary continues. Innocent still a big threat, and Story pulls back Zekif into the cheat condom. Double kill. SRG has found their chance. They're breaking through the defenses. It's a shutdown. Zekif gonna be taken out next. Triple kill for Innocent, and that means Error 404 is the only one left.
And finally, SRG decides to convince themselves, you know what, we got the answer to the puzzle right now. They may have lost the Lord, but that doesn't really matter to them. They've taken out 4 members, and now, with the Violet Requiem, going to get a 5th as they close out Game 1.
They found it. Even with their best efforts, Team Vamos were not able to take down the Giants. It was a valiant effort and a respectable performance, but SRG's experience triumphs once again. In this meta, all it takes is that one big win in the late game.
Yeah, scary time to be alive here, but honestly, Vamos put one hell of a fight. I think if the early game went a little bit better, they might have been able to start this pickup faster in the mid game. But for now, at least we know there is some clear preparation from both sides on how they want to play the game, and they're not deviating from that path.
I will say this did not go the way I expected it, especially after this first couple minutes. I thought it was going to be an easy stomp for SRG, but it shows that the new blood in Vamos has something to bring to the table.
Something on the table, but also a different angle. And I think right now, not bad. I am seeing the individual improvement from not only just Natko. Unfortunately, he did get caught at the very end there, but he carried like a majority of the fights until he got to that point. Zekif alongside of Arrow 404. Arrow 404, I haven't seen that one moment, but his steals are still sharp. That's what we know for a fact. Zekif definitely improved from the last time we've seen him last year.
I think there's a lot of good things to point out. They just need to polish that up a little bit. And Team Vamos is looking surprisingly promising. I think it's a good start. A really good start to the brand new season.
It really is. It really is. And it can only get better if it goes into the full best of 3. Because really, we want to see the full length and breadth of what these teams are capable of. And honestly, I know last year it was all about like, let's get this over with 2-0 and we move on. But coming this year, I'm not 100% sure where these teams are at least for the first 2 weeks. I don't mind if it goes all 3 games. After those first 2 weeks, and we start getting into the second round robin, that's when I'm expecting like, you guys better, pull it together.
We definitely could use a little bit more information, which means more games is gonna help us out quite a bit to figure out what makes these teams tick. But to do that, it would imply that Vamos will need to take a game off of SRG. They were close, but can they really cross that finish line?
I think what really sets SRG apart at the very end there is whether or not they want to initiate the puzzle-solving problem. And I think that a lot of teams just don't have that at this point of time. Let's look at our MVP of this game. Give it up for the man who just refuses to go down. He just, I've seen him with more Sky Piercer stacks than him actually playing the game sometimes.
Pretty much, yeah. If Skypiercer had a higher stack counter, he would have broken it there because I don't think he died once this game. We can have a quick look. Yep.
Bulletproof, as they call it.
16-0.
Yeah, I'm a steal it for MPL. Big shouts out to all the boys over there and all the fans watching on over, because they should be proud of what Innocent is able to achieve here in MY. And honestly, looking to push it even further. 69% on the kill participation, very nice, but making sure. What do you think is like gold stat GPM is going to be at the end of the season? I think it will still be above 800. The question is it above 850, or are we talking just like 820 and above?
I think it will probably be low 800s. It's hard
low
to...
800s?
Yeah, I think it's going to be hard to keep it for 8 weeks, man.
Okay, that's a good point. I didn't think about that. And also the double round robin, also didn't think about that one. Well, okay, we'll see. Maybe a patch update will speed up the game. Who knows, right?
Yeah.
Let's look at the item builds first, because I think there's a lot of interesting things that we need to talk about. Number one, when we talk about Xeno, he went for the ultra-safe tank Phoveus build. He did not want to fight too hard. He wanted to sandbag during the mid-game. He gave up a huge portion of his early game just to make sure that Cram couldn't move out as often. Well, up to level 4, of course. Prior to that, Cram can do whatever he wants.
I think that Xeno's early game, if it had gone a little bit better, Famos may have had a better foundation to play off of here.
Maybe?
Because he died so often that he had to go full tank. It's possible that this was always the plan, since they already have Nako, Clawhood, and Error. But even having one Thunderbelt would have actually made a big difference with how long he was surviving those later stages.
I don't know about that. Because here's the thing. There's a good and bad about the Thunderbelt. Like on people like Khalid, where you can actively get it, yeah, sure. But then when you're losing out to clearing the wave because you're building full tank and Cram isn't, and he's taking Concussive Blast, I would assume, I don't think there's much of a comparison. Like, no matter what, Cram will leave the lane first.
What I'm saying is, if the laning phase had gone a little better, he could have gone Thunderbelt, and it would have been better. Like, in this situation, obviously, you don't build Thunderbelt.
I don't think it would have helped him, honestly. I really don't. Okay, and that's mainly because of the item itself, not because of the way it was played. It's just the situation that he was put in, right? Because a number of them, especially now, as much as Thunderbelt feels like a great item, Malefic Roar is also a huge problem because of it. Oh, I infinitely scale? Now I have an infinitely scaling Malefic Roar.
I mean, yes, but I guess we can agree to disagree here. I do feel like it would have helped, especially in some of those later stages where Xeno was basically the only person who could threaten Innocent. A couple of Thunderbelt procs may have actually gotten him in close to dying.
Maybe. It's really tough, because I think if there was anybody I wanted to catch Innocent, it would probably be between Zekif and arguably, I want to say Era 404, but then again, he got attacked so often, so it has to be Clawhood by default.
It cannot be Era 404. We already said, this lineup from SRG, you are not touching their backline at all. I have to give props to Era 404. He did not get caught that often because he was allowing Zekif and Xeno to frontline and coming in at the right timing, but it also means that his damage is a lot more conditional.
Absolutely. Yeah, because again, like, everybody on the side from Vamos, except with the only exceptions of Zekif and as well as Arrow 404, kind of want to be bundled up and fight in one spot at one time. Zekif and, as well as Arrow 404, they can fight anywhere. They can fight anywhere. So being a diversion was a great idea. But I also hope that we do get a bit of a mic check from SRG, because we've heard that Uni has been quite the shot caller. And now, does that mean there's conflicting shot calls? What's going on there? Why did the game go as long as it did?
Yeah, that is a good question. I will say, during the game itself, whenever the camera was on Uni, I did see him talking quite a good bit.
Right?
So we know that he's a shot caller, and we're seeing how he's capable of doing so here. But how does that mesh with the rest of SRG? Is it a cause of this situation? Or is it because Vamos has improved? Either way, we of course have Innocent as the rich guy, as the carry, Xeno as Sandbag, and Stormy. You just can't give this guy success.
Oh, dude, everything made sense until I saw Sandbag in the carry icons. they just took the Lord in the regular tank emblem and added something to it. That's so funny. Oh well, I do like the rich guy logo. That one's very nice. Very nice production.
Very sleek.
And the best wingman, also very nice. They don't exist anymore, but very nice. Either way, SRG still very clear lead here. I just don't know what their idea was, right? We all knew what it needed to look like at the very end, but what took so long to get to that point, right? And when I look at the items builds, and it doesn't really give me that much as well, because number one, we know that SRG wanted to kind of drag the game out and really funnel everything into Innocent. How do we know that? Brute Force Breastplate, Radiant Armor, second and third item on Stormy, why not go straight into Clock of Destinies at that point? You know what I'm saying?
I think you don't even need to look at other players. Just the fact that Innocent went Skypiercer first item is already an indication.
I mean, if you're not going Skypiercer on the Granger, like, why play the Granger, right?
Yeah, but sometimes you might go for Skypiercer second item, just to play it a bit more safe.
I mean... Okay, I would do that if I gave First Blood. That's when I'm like, okay, I'm not gonna be that guy this time.
That's fair enough. But everyone else is basically going for semi-bruiser style, and that allows SRG to be very distributed in these team fights, which is something they're used to, whereas Vamos is kind of locked into a front to back. I kind of wish they tried to do something different, because if they could get to Innocent before Yumes or Stormy can respond, there could be a chance to blow him up.
I suppose, I don't know. There's like a lot of like moments where, I don't know, like some engagements didn't look very SRG, but then at the same time, who's making the calls? And like Uni still has a couple of things to get over. That one in particular, that's 100% Uni call. I don't think Stormy was gonna like, oh yeah, he's gonna gas Uni on and be like, you get him, trust me, you get him.
Probably not. But Stormy is just gonna follow up on anything anyway, especially if there's a chance for a kill. Remember where his roots come from.
Yeah, that's true. That is true. Difficult game though, for both sides really. Really grinding the gears on either side. I would like to see what the adjustments from Vamos is going to be. Because it can't just be, oh, we gotta fix the entire early game. I feel like their draft was pre-planned. They knew exactly what they wanted. The second half of the draft, I think, was their golden moment of really calling, hey, I'm gonna call your bluff. No matter where you're going, we're gonna have an answer.
I think Zeusin 100% cannot be open. International organizations have respected this pick against SRG.
I mean, same goes for Sora, but they get both.
Yeah, that as well, right? It's like, that's step one.
That's step
and then that's step two.
You're not entirely wrong.
Gotta take it step by step, get it?
I think that it's just the placement of the RWM. The timing and the placement of the RWM that made all the difference here. Because SRG, on broken walls, dear lord, there's so many different paths you can take. It's hard. It is hard to fight between a wall.
Then you have multiple